Welcome to the Puma Energy Terminal at Westerleigh. Maintaining a safe working environment for everyone working or visiting our site is a top priority for Puma Energy. And we want the communities we work in to benefit from our commitment to safer working practices. We store and transport oil products in all parts of the world, where regulatory oversight and rescue services are often lacking. Our safety standards are very high, and our benchmark is based on international best practice. At our Westerleigh terminal, we import, store and export petrol, ethanol, diesel and heating oil. This facility was built in 1991, and Puma Energy took over ownership of the site in 2015. The site is located north of Bristol and comprises a rail siding, tank farm and road loading facilities. The terminal receives products from our supply terminal in Milford Haven. There are 14 main product storage tanks with capacities from 120,000 litres to 2.2 million litres. This is a busy site, and their activities include 24-hour, 7 days a week road loading operations from our 6 road loading bays. We import fuels by rail, with up to 29 rail wagons in each train, and up to 2 trains every day. Puma Energy is committed to the safe operation of all our facilities. So before you visit our site, you need some site information. A fuel storage terminal can be a hazardous place to visit if the safety rules are not followed. Many of our stored products are highly volatile. If not controlled, they could be extremely dangerous. That's why anyone visiting our terminal will receive a visitor safety induction and be accompanied at all times by a competent host. A host is a nominated Puma employee or individual nominated and trained by Puma who is familiar with terminal hazards and procedures. A host can also include the foreman or supervisor of a company you're working for. Please inform your host if you have any illness or disability that we should be aware of. Remember, this induction is strictly for visitors only and does not allow you to work on site. If you intend to work on site, you need to undertake the contractor's induction. To enter the site, you will need a pass like this, which gives you access to our site. Safety is a partnership between us, Puma, and you. Our part of the partnership is to provide you with a safe place to visit. Your part is to act responsibly and follow our rules and procedures. All visitors must sign in and out at reception. Visitors must stay with their site host at all times and always be accompanied by a competent person. Drugs and alcohol are strictly prohibited on site, and random tests are regularly carried out. Visitors entering the main operational site must wear our minimum personal protective equipment requirements. We will cover this later. All mobile electronic devices like mobile phones, PDAs, tablets, laptops, smartwatches, iBands, or similar Bluetooth devices, etc., are not permitted onto operational areas of the terminal without the permission of your host, and not until a suitable safe system of work has been put in place. So if you are going onto the terminal site and do have electronic devices, including a mobile phone, then please switch them off and leave them at reception. Anything that has a potential to cause a spark or flame is prohibited on site. Matches, lighters, or battery-operated equipment, for example. Leave any of these items with reception before entering, and collect them when you leave. Be aware that everyone is potentially subject to search on entering or leaving the site. And that applies to any vehicle you use too. It's a condition of entry. Smoking on site is strictly forbidden. Smoking is only permitted in the designated smoking shelter. Your Puma host will advise you where this is situated. Do not touch anything without your host's permission, like valves or switches, for example. Vehicles on site are restricted to essential vehicles only, and entry to site is strictly controlled. Visitors' vehicles must be left in the visitors' car park and must be reverse parked. Taking pictures or video is strictly forbidden on site, unless you have express permission from the terminal manager. Naturally, the carrying of any offensive weapon on site is prohibited. Be aware of signage on site. Observe and comply with warnings and instructions at all times. And if using stairs, always use the handrails. It's part of our safety culture and really works to prevent falls. Report any accidents, incidents, near misses or hazards you identify immediately to your host or other competent person. Watch out for uneven or slippery surfaces and tripping hazards. When walking around site, be aware of vehicle movements, particularly in the road loading area, and keep away from locomotives and rail cars in the rail yard. Keep a safe distance. Rail cars can move very quietly. Remember our safety rules. Follow Puma safety procedures. Look out for the safety of others on site. Challenge unsafe practice or behavior. Always wear the appropriate PPE when on site. And report any incidents, accidents, near misses or hazards to your host. There are inevitably hazardous substances stored and distributed at the terminal. All the products we store here have health, safety or environmental risks attached to them. All petroleum products are either combustible, flammable or highly flammable. Some are also toxic and can be harmful to people and the environment. All can cause health problems through contact with skin or by inhalation, so exposure should be avoided, and where unavoidable, suitable handling precautions and appropriate PPE should be worn. Skin contact with petroleum products can cause irritation, rashes and long-term effects like dermatitis. Inhalation can cause breathing difficulties, nausea, headaches and drowsiness. So it's even more important that you wear the appropriate personal protective equipment, PPE, when you are on site. So let's look at the minimum mandatory PPE you'll be required to wear when visiting our site. If you don't have your own PPE, we may be able to provide some. Our minimum mandatory PPE requirement is head protection to BS standard, safety lace-up boots. Rigger boots or wellies are not allowed. Flame retardant clothing and overalls, which must be long-sleeved and have reflective or high-vis strips. Eye protection like these safety glasses or goggles must be worn at all times on site, and in some high-noise areas, specified by signs like these, hearing protection must be worn. If you are in any doubt about what type of PPE you should be wearing on site, your host will be able to guide you. The wearing of the correct PPE on sites like ours has been proven over many years to effectively reduce accidents and injuries in the workplace. That's why we insist that everyone complies with our PPE policy. See that you do too. If you see an accident, incident, near miss or potential problem, tell your Puma host or a member of the terminal staff immediately. In the event of a first aid injury, trained first aiders are available on site at all times. To allow us to fully investigate incidents on site, you must report all incidents, that is, any event that results in injury, harm or damage. All personal injuries, no matter how insignificant you think they are. All near misses, that is, an event that could have resulted in injury or damage sustained to plant, equipment or personnel. Hazard observations, any issue which could have a negative impact. Remember, all incidents, accidents and near misses must be reported to the terminal staff immediately. This will help us make the workplace safer for everyone. The terminal's alarms are tested every Sunday at 1300 hours, and no action is required on your part at this time. This is the internal fire alarm. And this is the external fire alarm. If you hear these alarms at any other time, then this is what you need to do. Follow your host to your nearest muster point by the safest route, and be guided and advised by your Puma host. Remain at the muster point until you are given other instructions by a competent person at the muster point. This is the ESD, or emergency shutdown alarm. If you are in the office and you hear this alarm, then no action is required, unless the fire alarm also sounds. If you are out on site, then you should follow your host to the muster point in the mess room. Puma Energy is very conscious of the delicate balance that exists between our terminal and the local environment we operate in. We are committed to minimizing the impact of our operation on the environment. We take our responsibilities as a good neighbor very seriously and are determined to ensure that our excellent safety and environmental record is maintained. But we need your cooperation. If you are visiting the site, please follow all our site safety rules. Stay with your host at all times, and be aware of the hazards present here. Thanks for watching this safety induction program. Please remember everything you have learned, and have a safe visit.